Welcome to Align Christ-Centered Yoga. My name is Linda and I'm going to be guiding you through your practice today. One of my favorite daily devotion books is called Your Daily Walk, and it is written by the author of the Prayer of Jabez, Bruce Wilkinson. And as I'm reading through the prophet Isaiah, he asks us this question: have you ever built a spiritual bridge? Have you ever built a spiritual bridge? And he reminds us that as Jesus followers, we are called to be prophets and priests. As prophets, we're called to build that bridge between people, between their sin and their redemption, reminding and holding people accountable of those things that are harming them or that are getting in the way of their relationship with God, but also giving them that hope and that encouragement of a better future and all that Jesus has for them. In the same way, called also to be priests, and Peter reminds us of that in his letters, but the priests who are intermediaries, who stand in between the people and God, who take on the grief of the world and then put that at the altar. So prophets and priests. Jesus himself reminds us of this in a metaphorical way. But he says this to us: you are the salt of the earth. And if salt has lost its taste, how shall the saltiness be restored? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled under people's feet. You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. So we are salt, we are light. That's our calling as Jesus followers. So again, my question to you: have you built a spiritual bridge? And what spiritual bridges are you building? Today we will do a practice of back bends. So take note of your body, how you're feeling today. Adapt the practice for you. Make it work for your back, for your body, for your mind as well today. And in that, we'll finish in a bridge pose and just kind of focus along the way, maybe even finding a prayer that just connects with your breath to connect prayer and practice. Once again, our question: have you built a spiritual bridge? What spiritual bridges are you building? If you have props, blocks or blankets, stacks of books, whatever you can find, elevating your hips just a bit, a few inches off the mat, crossing legs in front of you or bringing legs behind you, just finding a comfortable seated position so that you can sit in alignment and begin to find your breath. Closing your eyes as we begin today, I would invite you to just think about the natural curves of your back. Notice the curve at the neck, the curve rounding over the shoulders and into the middle of the back, the curve of the middle back arching into that lower back, and then the curve around the tailbone. Neutral position of your spine. Find your breath. Breathing fully into the lungs, the rib cage, the diaphragm muscle of the abdomen. Deep breath in, inhale down. Exhale fully out, drawing the belly in, softening the rib cage, emptying the lungs, breathing all the air out. And just continue here, breathing in, breathing out. Feel the breath moving through the body and feel the effects of the breath on the body. So feel the effects of dimension. Creating a little more space, breathing three-dimensionally with that inhale, finding that strength and stability with that exhale. Feel the effects of release. I'm losing my voice today. Feel the muscles soften. Feel the muscles let go. Feel the hips sink heavy into the support of that prop or mat. As you breathe, reach the top of the head, the crown of the head towards the sky. Breathe all the way into that pelvic floor. Feel the expansion shoulder to shoulder as the lungs fill, creating a broadness, a breadth to the body. Check in physically, just noticing how your body feels today. Excuse me. Check in spiritually. How connected are you to God in the moment? Think about those spiritual bridges that you may be called to build. And maybe as we begin our practice, the Holy Spirit has brought to mind a particular person or situation that needs reconciliation. A place where you already know that you're being called to be a part of building that bridge. And embrace that. And maybe lift that up today throughout your practice in prayer with breath. Let the hands come down to the mat. If you're worshiping with music today, start that playlist. Taking a deep breath in, draw arms up and overhead. As you exhale, bring the hands down. As you connect movement with breath, lead with breath. Begin the exhale, then lift the arms. Begin the exhale, then lower the arms. Can you maintain that full three-dimensional body as you rise and fall with the arms? On that next inhale, as the arms rise, let the gaze come up. And as the hands come down, tuck your chin. And continue here. One more time here. Bring the hands out to the side. Exhaling, draw the belly in. Find a seated cat. Pressing the arms back, find seated cow. Back and forth here, cat to cow. How does your back feel today? Where does this feel really great? Where does this feel a little tight? One more time. Go ahead and bring those arms forward, interlacing the fingers. Hands come forward, tucking the chin. Gently bring that right shoulder forward. Lift it up just a little bit. Look underneath it. Adjust so that you can feel a stretch down the side on the right side of the back. Meet me back at center. Interlace the fingers. Draw the palms towards me. Reach those arms all the way up. Exhaling, bring those hands down behind you. Fingertips tap the mat. Open up across the chest. Notice that in your back bend, in your seated cow here, you're decompressing the the lower part of the spine. So the spine is, you're creating length and space between the vertebra of the lower back. And that back bend starts just below the shoulder blades. Inhale, rise up with the arms. Interlace the fingers, bring them forward. This time, draw that left shoulder forward. Lift it up, look underneath. Breathe in, breathe out. Find that stretch down the back of the body on the left side. Release one more time, turning the palms towards the front. Reaching the arms all the way up. Finding as much length as you can here. Let the shoulder blades glide down. Anchor around the upper back. Hands come down behind you. Breathe in, breathe out. As you're ready, release. Bring any blocks that you have towards the front of the mat, any props that you have. Meet me at table. Fingers are spread wide. Create a little pocket of air in the palm of the hand. Draw those elbows in towards each other. Rotate the shoulders out and back. Draw the shoulder blades down towards the hips. Neutral position of your spine. So for a moment, close your eyes. Think about how those curves of the spine felt when you were sitting. Can you recreate those curves here in table? And then exhaling, draw the belly in, find cat. Inhaling, collarbone comes forward. Chest comes through the arms, gaze comes forward, find cow. Back and forth here, cat to cow, 2 more times. Back at center. Gently draw the hips back. Find child's pose. Child to table 3 times. Exhaling into child. Inhale into table. Let the breath guide your movement. Meeting me at center, strengthening a little bit through the abdominal wall. Draw that right arm forward. Extend the left leg back. Float it up. Body is parallel to the mat. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. 4 more times here. As you're ready, stay extended. Find as much length as you can, then bring the hand and knee down. Child to table twice. Reach those hands forward, forearms all the way down to the mat and the head down if that works for you. Find as much length as you can. Inhale up. Take your time. 1 more time. Child to table. As you're ready, left arm extends. Right leg floats up. Again, neutral position of the spine. I tend to overarch my back. Some of you may tend to round your shoulders. Just find that neutral position each time you extend. Feel those strong core muscles of the abdominals and the back supporting your body. Two more times here. Crunch and extend. And as you're ready, release. Child to table once. Bring your hands forward just a little bit. Come forward into a kneeling plank. Engage through the abdominals. Come down to the mat. Keep the upper arms near the upper body. And then with the hands and the forearms down and to the side, inhale up into Sphinx. Exhale out of it. You're really taking some extra time today to warm up the muscles of the back. So as you're ready, come up into Sphinx pose, pressing through the tops of the feet and the forearms. Press down with the forearms and the feet. Extend the collarbone forward and up. Can you feel the work in the middle of the back? The rhomboids, the lats. Let those shoulder blades sink wide and down towards the hips. As you're ready, exhale down. Hands to the rib cage, elbows draw together. Come up through table to child. Twice more on your own here. Kneeling plank to the mat, Sphinx to child. Your pace, your breath. As you come back to this final child, stay there for 3 breaths. Breathe fully into the back of the body, really expanding across the shoulder blades, the middle of the back, the hips. As you're ready, rise up to table. Big toes together, bring the knees out to the side. Bring the hands forward, about 1 handprint. Begin to draw the rib cage down towards the mat, forehead to the mat. Stay here and breathe. Begin to find length in the spine. Again, just breathing in, breathing out, finding as much length as you can here. Notice also for some of us, this is a stretch for the inner thigh and the groin. And notice also that you have created the same back space that you will have for downward facing dog. So when you come into downward facing dog in just a moment, can you recreate the sensations that you have right now in your back? Let's try that. Slowly rise up into table. 1 hand underneath the shoulder, then the other. 1 knee underneath the hip, then the other. Take a breath here. Curling the toes underneath. Draw knees up into rib cage. Hips towards the sky. Shake the head up. No and yes. Begin to pedal through your feet. Move the hips side to side. And just really exploring what's going on in your body, in your feet, your ankles, your calves, your hamstrings, all the way down, shoulders to elbows to wrists. Inhaling, heels rise. Exhaling, heels begin to drop down towards the mat. Shake your head out, no and yes. Find length. And find this place of tension but not struggle. Just finding this edge between the two. Notice where you begin today. Inhaling, meet me in plank. Find a very strong plank here, engaging through the transverse abdominals. And then drop the knees down. So let's just talk through grasshopper here. You can just go down a kneeling plank if that's better. If you're in grasshopper, those arms stay right next to your rib cage. Come down to about 3 inches above the mat. Slide the body forward. Come up into that low cobra. Exhale out of Sphinx or low cobra. Inhale up and hold it. If you are in low cobra, begin to just hover the hands. And then exhaling, bring the hands down. Relax the body a little bit. Slide the hands down towards your hips, but keep them flat on the mat, fingers facing forward, thumbs in. Okay? So you're going to press a little bit through the heel of your hand and raise that upper body up. Breathe in, breathe out. Begin to find the work a little bit lower in the back. What happens if you engage your abdominals? What happens if you press through the tops of your feet? Exhale down. Slide the hands back up just behind the shoulders to low cobra. Inhale up. Notice where the back bend goes. Come up through table. Meet me in child. Finding a flow here, curl the toes under, meet me up in downward facing dog. Inhale to plank. Exhale your way down to the mat, however you choose. Find your back bend of choice. And meet me in downward facing dog. One more time here. As you come back to downward facing dog, stay there for a few breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. On that next inhale, right leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, float the foot through the hands. Hands to either side of that foot, and this might be a time where props are useful. Begin to drop and lift the back leg. So just gently tap that knee up and down. If you have wrist issues, maybe coming to your fists instead of the hands flat. And as you're ready, just let that back knee come down to the mat. Let's keep the toes curled under just for a little extra stretch of the foot there. Press into the front foot at the base of the big toe, little toe, and heel. Deep breath in, rise up. Hands to heart, come forward just to find the stretch in that psoas muscle. So the front knee is going to stay right over the ankle there. That back hip will draw forward. With the thumb still on the collarbone, just find a back bend. Bring the arms up and wide. Exhale, hands to either side of the foot, back knee rises high. Pressing that left hand to the center of the mat, just on the inside of that foot, sweep that right arm all the way up. Breathe and find stretch from fingers to shoulders, shoulders to wrists. Can you hold on with the abdominals enough that that weight just kind of floats on that bottom hand? Exhale, unwind. Again, hands to blocks or props. Begin to straighten and bend the front leg. As you're ready, extend that front leg to that place of stretch. Maybe drop the back hip, maybe realign so that all the toes of that back foot face forward. Head down, release the tension in the neck. You're ready, that front knee comes forward over the ankle. Move the blocks out of the way. Front foot comes to the back, meet me in plank. From plank, come all the way down to the mat, however you choose to do that. Find your back bend. Exhale your way, come through table to downward facing dog. Think about the right side of the body compared to the left. Maybe a difference in sensations. One more breath in downward dog. And that next inhale, left leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, foot comes all the way through the hands. Block comes back behind the toes. Back knee comes down and up. Back and forth here. As you're ready, let that back knee come down. Keep the toes curled under. And again, if this is hard on your knee, if the toes back top of the foot is flat, that might make it a little bit easier. Rise up. You can also put padding underneath that knee. Hands to collarbone. Just lean forward just a fraction, just enough to begin to feel that stretch in the front of that right hip. Press into that front foot. And to find the back bend, just pressing into the collarbone with those thumbs. Arms rise, nice and wide. Exhale, hands down to either side of the foot. Press that right hand to the inside of the foot. Extend through the back leg, sweep the arm all the way up. Inhale to the muscles of the chest. Exhale, draw those muscles up towards the ceiling. Can you press through the base of the big toe of the front foot? Exhale, hands to either side of the foot, again maybe using props, and begin to straighten and bend the front leg. As you're ready, straighten out that leg. Let the body drop down towards the leg. So the body is centered here. You're not angling over that leg. Shoulders are centered with hips. Release the tension in the neck. On this side, find that place, that edge between tension and struggle. One more breath. Front knee comes over the ankle. This time the back foot comes up to meet the front. Engaging through the abdominals, let the head come down, shake the head out, no, and yes. Drop the hips, forearms to thighs, find neutral position of the spine. Engage through the abdominals. Checking in, remember what neutral position felt like when you were seated. What did it feel like in table? What does it feel like now? Arms extend forward, rise up into chair pose. From chair pose, rise up, mountain pose. Exhale, forward fold. Drop and lift the hips twice. And then find the forward fold that's right for your body. So how much are you bending the knees? Be intentional. Why did you choose that? Shake the head out, no. Shake the head out, yes. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhale down. One leg back and then the other, find plank. And from plank, find your way all the way down to the mat. Extend your arms forward. Palms are facing in, thumbs are up, feet are wide. Head is down. Engaging through the abdominals, bring that right arm, left leg up. Exhale down. Other side, left arm, right leg up. Exhale down. Just back and forth here. Can you do the work from the lower back rather than from the glutes and shoulders? 2 more times each side. Once you're ready, one hand under the shoulder, then the other. Meet me in table. Breathe in table, find neutral position of the spine, curling the toes under. Meet me in downward facing dog. On that next inhale, right leg rises high. Gaze comes forward, foot floats through the hands. Back foot comes to warrior one stance. Angle to the outside edge of the mat, slightly forward. Inhale up, arms rise. And then just bring the hands down to your hips, gently bringing that left hip slightly forward, that front hip crease slightly back, maybe bringing that front knee a little closer to so that it's right over the ankle, pressing through the outside edge of the back foot, warrior one. Shoulders down and engaged. Straightening out that front leg, bring that right hand to the thigh. Exhale, come straight forward, reach as far as you can, body parallel to the floor, then fold over. Inhale up. So exhale down, inhale up 3 more times. Can you find a little more length in your spine? As you're ready, meet me back in warrior one. That front shin comes towards the front edge of the mat. Hands behind, interlacing the fingers if that's good for your shoulders. Otherwise, hands just on the small of your back. Begin to find a back bend here. So you're just going to lift that collarbone up and back. Again, can you kind of decompress through the lower back and lift the hip points up in the front. And then hinging at the hips, come forward into humble warrior. Just body coming down towards the center, arms rising. Again, if this doesn't work for arms or shoulders, you can just hold onto those forearms. Release any tension in the neck. Press through those feet. So you're pressing down into the mat as the hips rise, as the shoulders drop. Exhale, bring the hands down, unwind the fingers, rise into warrior, find a back bend. Just notice where the body goes. Exhale, hands to heart. Hands come forward. Hands to either side of that front foot, bring the back foot up to meet the front. Find your forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhale down, inhale, rise high. Interlacing the fingers, bring hands behind your head. Elbows back. Engage through the abdominals. Look down at your feet for just a moment. Can the feet be parallel and hip width apart from each other? So from here, engaging through the abdominals, keeping those hips steady. Take that right elbow back behind you. Drop that left elbow down so you're bending at the waist. Bring that left arm, if it works for you, behind into a bind. Gently just press down at that hip a little bit. We're looking for length all the way across the front of the body. Exhale, release. Go ahead and cup your hands. Turn them inside out, a little bit of a wrist release here as those backs of the hands come together. Everything rotates, hands come into prayer, arms rise up. Interlace the fingers awkwardly this time. Hands behind the head. Anchor through the abdominals, hips steady above the feet, keeping the lower body in place, upper body twist towards the left. Left elbow rises, right elbow drops. Maybe that right arm comes around in a bind, maybe not. Make your practice work for you. Deep breath here. As you're ready, release. Hands down. Cup the hands. Backs of the hands rotate. Arms come all the way up. Exhale, forward fold. So just find that forward fold. Notice how has it changed since that first one of the day. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhale down, one leg back and then the other. Find your plank. From plank, knees come down, child to table 3 times. One more time. Bring the hands forward, come all the way down to the mat. Bring the arms forward. Take the legs wide. Pressing into your forearms, draw your collarbone up. Draw the rib cage forward. Drop the shoulders, but you're maintaining a triangle here underneath the arm or the armpit, and then stay here, but raise your arms up. Stay here for 2 breaths. Really feeling the work in the upper back. Exhale down. Go ahead and fold your forearms, one on top of the other, cheek to forearms, wiggle your hips and release. Again, arms forward. Pressing forearms down, pressing through the tops of your feet. Draw the collarbone up, shoulders down and back, and then extend the arms and raise them up. 2 breaths here. Release. One forearm on top of the other. Turn the cheek the other way. Wiggle your hips. One more time, arms are forward. Pressing into the feet, pressing into the forearms. Make that triangle underneath the armpit. Collarbone rises, gaze is in front of you. Arms engage and lift. One more breath here. Exhale, release. Hands to rib cage, come up the table. Stay in table for a breath. Find neutral position of the spine. Exhale to child. Come up through table, curl the toes, meet me in downward facing dog. Notice the right side of the body compared to the left. Left leg rises high. Gaze comes forward. Foot comes all the way through the hands. Back foot comes into warrior one, angled slightly forward. Hips square with the front of the mat. Rise up into warrior. Hands come down to hips. And you're going to bring this back hip slightly forward, front hip crease back. Sink into the pose just a bit as you drop the hips. Arms rise. How does warrior one feel on this side? Just noticing. Straightening out that front leg. Left hand to thigh. Exhale, come all the way forward. Reach, 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 reach. Inhale up. Again, all the way forward. And up. 2 more times. Are you still connected to breath? Can you reconnect to that breath prayer? And bend that front knee over the ankle, arms come forward, hands come behind. So again, maybe the hands just supporting the sacrum bone, maybe holding onto elbows, but maybe interlaced awkwardly this time, the other hand in front. Shoulders square to the front of the mat. Arms rise. Find your back bend. And then hinging forward at the hip. Lengthen through the spine. Come all the way forward and over. Find humble warrior. Adjust the pose for your body. As you're ready, release. Arms come down, rise up. Find your warrior. Find your back bend. Hands to heart. Back foot comes up to meet the front. Feet hip width apart. Find mountain pose. Notice the connection at the base of the big toe and the little toe, right at the center of the heel. Feel the thumbs pressing into the sternum. Notice the length of the body. Ankles to knees, knees to hips, hips to shoulders, shoulders to ears. Take 2 more deep breaths here. Exhale, release, arms rise. Exhale, forward fold. Hands to shins, rise up halfway. Exhale down. Go ahead and bring your forearms behind your calves. Hold on to your ankles, bend your hips. Or bend your knees, drop your hips. Press your legs, your calf muscles into your forearms into your legs. So pressing the legs towards the back of the mat. Let the head come down. Can you find stretch and release across the upper back? Shake your head out, knowing yes. Release, hands to shins, come up halfway. Exhale down, one leg back into the other. Find plank. From plank, find your way down to the mat. Take your legs wide. Make a circle with your thumb and your first finger. Take those thumbs, make those circles under the hip points. Engage through all of the muscles of the core. So engage through the abdominals. Let the shoulders come down towards the hips. Engage through the legs. Tighten up the quadriceps, drawing knees up towards hips, pressing through the tops of your feet. Just raise up that left leg. Bring it back down. Raise up that right leg. Bring it back down. Can you do this lifting from the lower back instead of the glutes? So abdominals are engaged. Erector spinae muscles lift that leg. Back and forth. 2 more times each side. And release. Take your forearms parallel to the front edge of the mat. Bring your cheek to the forearms. Wiggle your hips. So we are going to repeat what we just did twice. And you have an option. So maybe we're going to hold it just a little longer each time. Maybe you are still just lifting one leg at a time because that is what is appropriate for your body and your back. But maybe you want the extra challenge and you want to lift both legs. So either lift one leg or both, engaging through the muscles of the core and the legs. Again, feel the work in the back muscles, lower back. One more breath here. And release. Take a breath to release. One more time. So now you're either lifting the opposite leg or maybe one more time, both legs up. And if you're feeling really strong today, you're just feeling like this would be good for your body, you can lift that upper body up as well. Just breathe in, breathe out, one more breath, and release. Forearms stack at the front of the mat, cheek to the side, wiggle your hips. Hands to the rib cage. Rise up. Meet me in table. Stay in table for 3 breaths. So make your table strong. Find the work in the pose. Hands and legs pressed down. Body rises up. But find that neutral position of the spine. And then slowly, as you're ready, come into child's pose. Forearms to the mat, stay there for 1 breath. And then take your hands back to your feet. Press your feet into your hands, hands into your feet. Let the shoulders drop. How wide can you make your back as those shoulders drop down to the mat, as those feet press away into the hands? Breathe fully into the upper, middle, and lower back. One more breath here. Hands to the mat, rise up. Bring the legs in front of you. Bring the feet wide, heels up, support yourself, and begin to just drop your knees side to side. As you're ready, come to center, cross the ankles, and come up. If you have props, bring them along. We're going to come into camel pose. So this is an option for you. If your back is already tired, I would invite you just to come to your back on the mat and to do bridge pose instead. So with the blocks at either side, hands to the sacrum, begin to really press down into the hips. Feel the pressure, feel the glutes just drop a little bit and feel the stability of the lower body. Shoulders and chest facing forward. Bring that right hand in a cartwheel all the way up and back. Don't move the body, but just kind of try to find that block. Move the body a little bit there. Just creating a kinesthetic awareness of where that block is so that when you come down, you know what your goal is. And I would invite you to find props that raise up, a good bit here for this first one. As you come into camel, press solidly into the sacrum bone. Really support the back with your hands. The work is coming from the front of the thighs and the quadriceps. Lean back and find those blocks. As you find the block, maybe you also find the back bend, collarbone rising, sternum rising. Deep breath in. And then one hand to the small of the back, then the other. Use the legs to come forward. We're going to do this one more time. So this time, maybe you stay right there. Maybe you come to bridge pose on the floor. Maybe you can drop the blocks. Maybe you can flex the feet and reach your ankles. So choose your intensity. Again, just kind of cartwheel to find where you're headed. Again, hands to the small of the back. Really support the sacrum bone. Use the quadriceps, engage the abs. Lean back. It's just like a reverse kneeling plank. And then, after you're supported, begin to find the back bend. Again, decompressing through the lower back. Finding that back bend from the middle of the back, all the way up. Let the head just be a natural extension of the spine. Again, if you have neck issues, be really careful with this. Don't just flop the head down. Find your range of motion. One more breath here. And then hands to the small of the back. Use those legs. Come up. Hands down. Find table. As you find table, stay there. Find a neutral position of the spine. Cross the ankles and come up to sitting. Bring one block to your hips. Hands underneath the legs. Round your back into cat. Tuck your chin. Inhale, rise up. Lift your heart to the sky. Cow pose. Cat to cow 2 more times. Lead with breath. Maybe reconnect to that breath prayer. As you're ready, release. Hands underneath the legs. Come down onto your back. Remove anything in your hair that's going to get in the way of your head, just coming flat down. If you have a block, bring it gently between the legs, just holding on lightly. Bring the hands all the way up to the ceiling. Arms are long. Reach, palms face in. Bump the shoulders down. Do that twice more. One more time. And let the hands come down towards the feet. So feet are are just a little bit in front of the knees. When we come up into bridge pose, we don't want to compromise the knees, so the knees will be right above the ankles. As you come up into bridge, remember that this is really just camel pose from a different gravitational orientation. So engaging through the abdominals, begin to slowly come up one vertebra at a time. Rise up. Just exhale down one vertebra at a time. So back and forth here 2 more times. Can you articulate through each vertebra individually? Come up into bridge one final time and stay there. Pressing into the feet and the arms and the shoulder blades. Lifting those hip points up towards the ceiling. Breathing in, breathing out. One more breath here. Feel the work in the legs. And just slowly come down one vertebra at a time. Deep breath in, deep breath out, settle here. Stay here for one more breath. Notice the way the body is connected to the mat. If you're ready, go ahead and remove the block from the legs, but keep the legs in place. Imagine that you're still holding on to the block. Gently bring the block underneath the hips, or underneath, the sacrum bone. It's above the hips. It's below the spine. You have a nice flat bone there. So your body weight still in the shoulder blades and the feet, but now solidly on that block. And maybe if the block is, and you can just come up on a blanket too, if that's what you have. Since we have been doing as much back bending as we have, maybe you come up a little higher on that block today. But again, no strain here. Wherever you find, wherever you settle, should feel like a really good stretch. Seeking release in that lower back, and in that also, just releasing any remaining tension, stress, anxiety. As we think about the bridge, also releasing any barriers between you and God today, any barriers between you and another person. Also thinking about your call to be a remover of barriers for others, drawing them closer to God, into unity with His church. As you're ready, pressing into your feet, come up just a bit, engaging through the abdominals, come down one vertebra at a time. Remove the block. Find Find your way back to the mat. Stay exactly where you landed for 2 breaths, allowing the body to release, noticing the way the body has connected to the mat. Find a more neutral position, so maybe the shoulders a little wider, the arms a little more relaxed. Gently draw the knees in. Let's begin to circle on the ceiling. So knees together, just draw a circle on the ceiling. Just releasing any tension in that back. As you're ready, go the other direction. Several circles here. As you're ready, gently push the knees away from the rib cage, draw them back in, back and forth here. And then just bring one foot down, then the other, feet down to the mat. Arms rise high, palms come in, let those shoulders just thump down to the mat. Bring the palms down to your side. Rotate palms up, extend the legs long. Turn your head side to side from the top of one ear up and over to the top of the other, back and forth. Arms down at your side, palms up, feet and legs relaxed. Find Shavasana. Today in Shavasana, again, releasing any barriers. Inviting the Holy Spirit to smash those barriers for you, to remove them for you. And also, perhaps, inhaling prayer, lifting up people or situations where you are called to be that spiritual bridge. Gently bring yourself back to this time and this place. Reconnect with your breath. Notice the way that your body has settled onto the mat. Gently begin to bring movement back. Wiggle fingers and toes. Rotate wrists and ankles. Turn your head side to side. On that next inhale, bring those arms up and overhead and just reach, reach, reach. Find length. Right arm to left leg, left arm to right leg. And then draw knees in and slowly roll over onto your side. Take your time, no hurry. Stay here for 2 more breaths. As you're ready, come up to a sitting position, finding your sitting bones again. Breathing in, breathing out. As you're ready, take a deep breath in, arms rise high, hands to prayer, hands down to heart, bowing your head. Checking in one final time, body, mind, and soul, noticing what has shifted since you stepped onto the mat this morning. Noticing what has stayed the same, accepting it as it is. Joining me in prayer. Holy God, we are so grateful for Jesus, for that bridge between sin and redemption, for that bridge between the things of this earth and heaven. We are so thankful that through him we have full access to you and the gifts of your Spirit. God, let us be instruments of your peace. Flow through us as we reconcile others to you, as we reconcile people to each other. God, we humbly ask that you remove any of the barriers in our own lives. It is in the name of Jesus the Christ that we pray. Amen. Thank you for joining me today.